So if we're in that area, in that situation, and something happens, how do I get home to my family? So this is part one of that.
Well, you forgot to mention honestly that when you went to SRF with Angie, you knew I was going to be there.
Yeah, Jason was going to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
I
was going to
forgot.
take
I
care and
forgot.
figure out how to get you home. So
That was the trip that I got to introduce you to Billy and Michelle. You got to meet Billy and Michelle on that trip.
yeah,
But no, you went to a
well,
class
no,
and met
yeah,
Billy. That's the first time you
I
met Michelle, I
yeah, that's the
guess.
first time I met Michelle.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Homestead HQ, where we talk about homesteading, preparedness. This is Shelly.
I'm Jason. Guys, it's glad to have y'all here again. We've got a good episode today. To get a few things out real quick, one of our sponsors for the show that makes this happen is VacMaster Fresh. You can check out their website. It's VacMasterFresh.com. They make commercial chamber sealers, a whole line of butchering knives and kitchen knives. Use the code Homestead to save 15% off your order. And I use the stuff almost every day. I've got their knives in the kitchen. Use them if we're shoot. Some of the times when I'm eating steak, I'll grab one of those knives and use it to cut the steak up instead of a steak knife from the drawer. But guys, they make excellent products. They're going to be at the festival, and hopefully, if I can talk them into it, they're going to put a chamber sealer in the raffle that you can win. We're still
That would
negotiating
be
that.
awesome.
Yes, we're still negotiating that. I'm trying to talk Amy into doing that for us, but I have a feeling that it's not going to be a hard sell with her. But they will, yeah, they'll be at the festival. They're awesome people to work with, so I won't have to twist her arm too much on that. But it's VacMasterFresh.com, and the code is Homestead to save 15% off your order. So, Shelly, is the fence up?
Nope.
Any as he said when he's coming?
So the
It
all of
rains. It rains, so that's like a 3 week delay with
yeah, I know.
contractors.
Which he told me. So all of the 811 stuff is good to go. We've got I think I said that in the last episode. All of that came back. Everything's fine. So I messaged him about that, and he came back. He said that he had a couple other projects that he had to finish up after the rain came through, which we didn't get much rain, like from the hurricane and stuff. We didn't get hardly anything up here, but he said he had a couple other projects, and then he would be on his way to do mine. So hoping to hear from him sometime this week that he'll be out here. Next
That'd be
week at the
good.
latest, I hope.
Yeah. We got like spotty rain. Like I was driving down the road and it just piss poured rain, and I was like, sweet. I was like, we're getting rain, and then I'd pull up the driveway and I'm like, it's still dry.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
how it was here. I woke up one day and my back patio was wet. I don't even know when it rained, but nothing happened the rest of the day, and it wasn't even enough to wake me up. So, yeah,
it. We've got a
we need
decent.
rain.
Yeah, I mean we've got a decent amount, but nothing like what we really need. I mean the pastures are drying up here, and it's just horrible. I mean I pulled the sheep off one pasture, and I was like, I'm going to let it rain and let this grass grow. If not, I mean the stinking grass is crunchy, and I'm like, I'm just going to destroy
Yeah.
everything I work for. So I pulled the sheep off and started feeding a little bit of hay. I hate to admit it, but yeah, we're feeding some hay just to keep the pastures in check right now. Because if not, it's going to be a barren wasteland if you keep them out there on it.
Right.
So I hadn't done a whole lot. I've been busy with work and running personal stuff and everything else. But I did. I got a call, and this goes back to the last episode on feeding your animals for free. Doing that, I got a text and from the chef at the convention center. He sent me a text. He said, "Hey, when can you come pick up some food?" And I was like, "I'll be there tomorrow." And he was like, "All right, cool." He said, "Probably bring like 2 trash cans." So
Wow.
I'm like, okay, cool. So I showed up. I had two 30-gallon trash cans, like Rubbermaid tote trash cans, and I take drum liners and put in there just so your trash cans stay clean. But I rolled in. He had probably a 10-foot stainless steel table stacked full of like the steamer trays,
Wow.
like they serve buffets with.
Mm-hmm.
It had everything from it had everything from like hash brown casserole to fresh fruits, strawberries, Collard. They had like 3 pans of collard greens in there, corn, cookies, breads, all kinds of stuff. But I filled up 2 30-gallon trash cans. So the pigs are eating great and loving it.
So are they like buying too much food and people don't show up for their events, or what's happening? That seems like a lot. I mean, great for you. I mean,
Yeah,
their waste is your bonus, or that kind of thing. But that seems like a lot.
it it is. And he told me one time, because Christmas, they have a bunch of Christmas parties there, and I was like, dude, what's the deal with all the food? Because I had like 20 something chocolate cakes last Christmas that I
Right,
talked
right. I
about.
remember you talking about that.
And he said some of these big corporate uh, entities, they'll say, hey, we're going to have 500 people at this, and he's like, half of them might not show up. So
Wow.
the company's already paid for all the food, and the hotels, already paid for all the food, and they've gotten paid for it. So it's not the hotel's not losing any money. It's the company that's just buying
Right.
extra stuff. And generally, he'll feed for like 3 or 4 days. He's like, I keep all the stuff that's left and feed all the kitchen staff and all the employees. And he said, after about 3 or 4 days, everybody's tired of eating it. So he keeps it in the cooler for me. And then as soon as I get up there, they pull it out of the cooler and set it out. And literally, it took me 30 minutes to fill those 2 trash cans up and have them loaded up in the truck. So 30 minutes for 60 gallons of food for my pigs. I'm like, hey, that's well worth it in my opinion.
Not a lot of sweat equity in that, is there?
No, and the cool thing is he'll save it up. Like a lot of times they had one of the football teams came in, because the football teams, when they play Western, will stay at the convention center. So
Mm-hmm.
he's feeding all those football players, and it's kind of, he said, sometimes it's hard to judge on how much the football players will eat and stuff like that. But I
You
mean,
would think
there's
with football players that you would have to have like double what you'd have to have for another group, because you would just kind of think that they would eat a
oh
lot of
yeah,
food.
chow
Yeah.
down on it. But yeah, I mean, it's make those connections. Go back and listen to the last episode on how talking about feeding your animals for free. But it's a real deal. It really happens. Just get out and make those connections, and eventually, it might not happen right at the beginning, but eventually it'll pay off. So
Yep.
that's kind of what I did on top of the general everyday chores and working and stuff like that. And shoot, next week's gonna be busy as all get out too. We've got a building that's going up Monday, and then Thursday I'm running down to Nicole from Living Free in Tennessee. I'm running down to her house, and we're gonna pour some concrete down there. So that'll be an all day event. It's about 2.5 hours one way to run down there. So I'll spend half the day on the road and then the other half the day actually working. So a lot of windshield time on Thursday. But that's about all that's happening right here right now. So what kind of news stories have you got? Can you top the DiGiorno 9mm pizza?
No.
Okay.
I haven't found one to top that yet, but I do have kind of a neat, kind of feel good story. I only have one story for today, so let me switch over. Did you know? Okay, there's this guy. His name is William Poole, and I think he lives in Canada right now. I think that's what. Yeah, I think he's in Canada right now. So this dude is next January, he's going to be 100 years old. He fought at the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. So, um, it's somewhere around the end of this year, I guess, is they're having like an 80-year celebration of the Battle of the Bulge. But the thing that's kind of neat about this, I guess, this story is William Poole's dad fought in the Civil War.
Really?
So he let me get back to the story. Let's see. William Poole fought in the Battle of the Bulge in 1944. His father fought for the Union Army in the 1860s. The 99-year-old veteran who fought at the Battle of the Bulge in 1944 Well, I just read that. Okay. Um, hold on a minute. Let me scroll down. So this guy, Pletkovich, I think, he wrote a book that's called Civil War Fathers, Sons of the Civil War in World War II. So I guess this was like a common thing. This guy is the last one left. But so Poole's father, his name was Charles Poole. He fought with the Union in the Sixth West Virginia Volunteers during the Civil War and received a pension for his service. Afterward, he married a woman named Clara, and they had William Poole in 1925. Although Charles Poole died when his son was just 7, William Poole had vivid memories of watching his father hunt squirrels despite missing a leg as a result of a war injury. If he wanted to hunt, he walked on crutches. If he got a squirrel, he put it down in the cross of the crutches to carry it home. Poole's mother died when she was 102 when she died, and she died in 1990. She was the last Civil War widow to draw Union benefits. In 1990, can you believe that?
I think I've heard something about that before.
It said later this year, William Poole, who turns 100 in January 2025, will celebrate the 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge, a grueling event that helped the Allied forces beat Nazi Germany. While speaking, while speaking with KYTV, William Poole recalled rescuing an injured soldier and becoming a prisoner of war after getting caught in a trap as he returned to an area he thought was secure. There was a big bomb crater outside that place, and they put us in that, he said. Fortunately, a German soldier who caught William Poole and his comrades didn't shoot them, which he noted was unusual, but he figured it was a miracle. Isn't that a neat story?
That is pretty cool. I
mean,
couldn't.
this guy's still alive, and his dad fought in the Civil War. That's just, it blows my mind.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and you think a lot of times you think the Civil War was, you think it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, but
Mm-mm.
the last living person was in 1990. So I mean, that's 34 years ago.
Well, and some of those boys that fought in the Civil War, they went to war when they were like 12, 13. They
Yeah.
were young. I
Oh
mean, on
yeah.
both sides. So, yeah, I mean, I totally get how it happened, but it just blows my mind that the guy's still alive today, and his dad, his like the one generation above him, his dad actually fought in the Civil War. That's just mind blowing to me.
Oh yeah. That, and then also I think too, living to be 100. That's good and bad. Living to be 100 because everybody that you've known is probably already dead. So you're like the last person, and it's like that's kind of sad too that you're the last person around. I don't know. I personally probably won't live to be 100 the way I live, but I I don't see myself making it to 100. But it'd be pretty cool to be 100 years old and still be lucid and not insane or anything. So, but yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, that was the greatest generation right there. Those guys, and it's
Right.
sad. It's sad to see that we're losing those guys every day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've heard a bunch of the stories and everything. My dad was in Korea, the Korean War, and he's told me a bunch of stories about that. And he one thing he told me, he was like, it was stinking cold over there. He said, I can remember being freezing cold over there. And you don't really think of Korea being cold. I didn't ever think of it being cold,
Yeah.
but he was like, yeah, he was like, it was stinking cold over there when we were there.
I have an
So
uncle that was in the Korean War, and then my dad was in Vietnam.
yeah. So all right, main topic, and before we get to the main topic, Signature Solar, run check those guys out at signaturesolar.com. Use the code Homestead. That will save you some money with an affiliate link there. Those guys are super great. They're one of the main sponsors for the festival coming up. They're going to be at the festival, so if you've got questions for those guys, it's going to be a great time to get in there, talk to them. Their sales guys and tech guys will be there to where you can talk to them about that. And like I alluded to earlier, we're working together to get some packages set up, just some common generic packages to say if you want to, run X, Y, and Z on your homestead. In a case of a power outage, you can do it. And we've got some more stuff coming like that. But run over there and check it out at signaturesolar.com and use the code Homestead.
I'm wanting to talk to them at the festival because I want to put our barn completely on solar.
Yes.
And I want to put freezers out there, and I can't wait to do that. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and talking to them about that.
Oh yeah, and me and my brother were running around yesterday, and we stopped in at Northern Tool. And I don't know if you've ever seen a Northern Tool store. They used to give out this huge big catalog, and it's like crazy stuff that you couldn't find anywhere else. But we stopped in there, and I was looking. We were both looking at some solar generators, and I told my brother, I'm like, Signature's got solar generators. So we started looking at those. And I want a mid-size solar generator is what I would like to have, just all in one box. And I'm going to order, I think they got 4 or 5 different models at Signature. And we started looking at those. And I'm probably going to order like a mid-size solar generator, and to where I can throw it in the bed of the truck and have it if I want to do something, just run a few power tools and stuff like that, or I can run the refrigerator and freezer in the house. And they've got a kit now that's got panels that come with it and everything.
Are those as noisy as a gas generator is, or do you know?
No, there's no sound whatsoever. Essentially,
that's ideal because that's what I hear people talk about in SHTF is people running generators. You hear them because they're noisy.
Yeah.
Even when you're out camping and you got somebody next to you with a generator, it's like, shut that thing off. They're just loud.
Oh yeah. I mean, the one I'm looking at, I forgot, I think it's a 3,200 watt solar generator, and it's got panels with it to recharge it. So, I mean, that thing is totally silent. There might be a fan that comes on maybe to cool some stuff, but it's no, I mean, you can stand there while the thing's running, and it's not, you can still have a conversation with it and everything, but pretty much silent.
Are they comparable in price to a gas generator?
No, for as far as wattage and stuff like that, you can buy a gas generator that's going to be a lot bigger than a solar generator. That's the only downside is the price. They're more expensive. And it depends on what you're going to do. If you're running big loads, you're going to really need a gas or a diesel generator, honestly.
Right.
So unless you get into some of the bigger ones, I think like the EcoFlows and stuff like that, they've got accessory batteries that you can put on with it, additional battery packs, and keep going up and up and up. So, but one of the downsides with the solar generator is you've got to recharge it. So, once you drain it down to a certain percent, you've got to recharge that solar generator before you can use it again. To whereas a gas or a diesel generator, you shut it off, add more fuel, and then you can start it right back up.
Right.
So, just like with an electric car, I mean, you can only drive so far with your Tesla before you have to stop and plug it in for a few hours, and then you can get on your merry way to where I can run into a gas station and fill up in full tank of gas in 15 minutes and be on the road and get another 500 miles down the road. So there's pros and cons.
Know your options, right?
Yeah. And each one of them has their place, honestly. So, I mean, it would be great, like especially like if you're tailgating or something like that. Not that I tailgate, but I mean, you could
live in a college town, so I guess right?
Yeah, my tailgating days are over. I stopped that when I was in college. But if you had it and you wanted to run a few things on the bed of your truck, you could throw that thing in there. It's quiet, and you can run your skill saw or your drill or whatever you wanted to, and it's totally quiet as opposed to firing up a generator and then worrying about, carrying your gas cans with you and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Well, but tell us the topic of the day, Shirley.
So the topic of the day, it's kind of came to me because here in 4 days, I'm taking a girls trip with some friends out of town, and we're going to be gone from like Thursday till Monday. And won't have Randy with me. Randy's going to stay home, take care of the farm. But I talked to Jason and I said, I would really like to do an episode where we talk about, if something happened while I'm on my girls trip, what do I need to get home? So I'm just, if something happened, like an SHTF thing, something happened, I'm away from home, and where I'm going is 4 hours away. So the more we talked about this, we kind of figured out that it's going to have to be 2 episodes, because we want to talk about what we need, what I need to have with me when I go on my girls trip. And then the second episode is going to be actually how I would get home if I didn't have transportation. But um the reason that I wanted to cover this is because, as all of you all know, I'm a homesteader. I'm looking the other way. This guy, he's a prepper, turned homesteader, or still prepper. Um,
I stay more in the prepping side,
yeah.
even though I'm homesteading.
So what does that look like for me? What do I need to do to make sure that I'm okay getting home if something does happen? Um, so obviously I'm not going to have a bug out bag. I say obviously, I don't know why I said that, but I'm probably not going to have a bug out bag that weighs 50 or 60 pounds that I would, pack with me on my girls trip. That's not going to happen. But this particular trip, which it's been a couple years since I took a trip that I didn't have Randy with me. Um, I think the last time that I did this, I went to SRF with my friend Angie, and which, when I'm going to destinations like that, I don't worry so much about what I need, because everybody there is like, everybody has all the things. And I know there's people there that are like, yeah, Shelly, come on, or, I'll take care of you. So I don't get as, I guess, tore up about that as I do when I'm going to some place like, and I'll just tell you all, we're going to Gatlinburg. We're going down there for a women's conference, but we're going some extra days to just, hang out and have a good time. And I'll just tell you, if you haven't been to the Smokies, it's crazy. There's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people there all the time. It's always crowded. That's one of the worst things about Gatlinburg, is that you have like 4 lanes when you need like 10 lanes, because there's so much traffic. And I mean, there's even so much traffic that up at the top of the mountains, it's destroying the trees because of the stuff, the exhaust coming out of the vehicles and stuff. So if we're in that area, in that situation, and something happens, how do I get home to my family? So this is part 1 of that.
Well, you forgot to mention, honestly, that when you went to SRF with Angie, you knew I was going to be there.
Yeah, Jason was going to be there. Yeah.
So I forgot. Figure out how to get you home. So.
That was the trip that I got to introduce you to Billy and Michelle. You got to meet Billy and Michelle on that trip.
Yeah.
But no, you went to a class and met Billy. That's the first time you met Michelle, I guess.
That's the first time I met Michelle.
Yeah.
So tell us what you've got in your kit.
So this is my bag. This is my backpack. And again, I'm sure there's some like comprehensive list. You can go on any prepper's YouTube channel, and that they're known because they're a prepper, and I'm sure they've got a video how to make a bug out bag, which I kind of see a bug out bag as like let me scoot my chair back. I see a bug out bag as something that is what you keep at your house so you can go. I don't plan on bugging out. I plan on staying here. So yeah. This is kind of a bug home bag, I guess. I don't know.
A get home bag is what they call it.
Get home bag. There you go. So, and I'm just going to show you some of the things that I've got in my bag. One thing that I'm not going to show you, I will have my pew pew with me. So I'm not going to pull that out on a YouTube channel, because we'll probably get in some kind of trouble or whatever, but that will be in my bag with multiple pew pews. And then, another thing that I don't have in this bag right now is my IFAC, because it's in my truck and my daughter's borrowing my truck today. So, that will go in this bag as well. And it's got, a bunch of just stuff that you need along with a tourniquet, just first aid stuff. So an IFAC is a individual first aid kit. Is that what it stands for? I think.
Yeah.
So in my bag, I have meat sticks. I do have some bags in my pantry in there of freeze dried food that would be a good idea to stick in here. I've got a container for water. This was from our first festival. What else? I've got my little container that I keep my meds in. So I have that in there. I have a life straw. So hopefully I can find water if I need to and filter it with my life straw. I have a knife. This is a Mora knife that is the one that is for the Great American Preparedness Tour. So if you get a poker chip at the festivals, you can get one of these at the end of the year. But I have that in here. I have a package of wipes in here. These are things that I keep in here all the time. This is not just because of this. I actually have a compass from my Girl Scout days. I used to teach orienteering. I have several pairs of socks. I have a package of emergency blankets. I probably should put a poncho in here, but I don't have one in here. I do have several ponchos, again, from my Girl Scout days. And then I have one of these towels. If it's hot outside, you can wet this down and put it around your neck, and it helps to cool you. We're getting into the kind of weather right now where it's not very hot outside. So another thing that I will have in here that I've been moving some stuff around in our house, and I'm not sure what I did with it, but my flashlight isn't in there. And that's the only thing I can think of. So what do I need to add to that, Jason? What do I need? What's something that is enough for me to carry, but you think I'm missing? Because I'm not carrying a 50-pound bag on my back.
I mean, you've got a lot of this stuff covered as far as food, water, security, and shelter. The one thing you're kind of lacking is shelter stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of the way that I've looked at it, the four basic things you really need to handle is your food, water, shelter, and security, and also a fifth one, first aid. So as far as your food stuff, what I like to see is freeze dried food, or like some jerky, like the meat snacks, or some shelf stable snacks like Cliff bars, protein bars, stuff like that are going to keep. And of course, you need to rotate this stuff out.
Yep.
I've got a bag that stays in my truck that has got tons of stuff in it, and about every 6 months I'll rotate through and take some of the stuff out and change it out. But like I said, as far as your food, some freeze dried food, jerky, Cliff bars, stuff like that. As far as your water stuff, I keep in my truck a cooler all the time just because I'm working and I want water and drinks and stuff like that. So I've got a cooler in the bed of my truck 99% of the time. But keep like your stainless steel water bottle or a Nalgene bottle. Keep one of those with you. I've got other water bottles in the truck. You want some water purification tablets?
I don't have any of those. Where can I get those at?
Walmart actually sells them.
Really?
Yeah, you can get those at Walmart. They're over in the camping section. They're just
Okay.
a little bitty medicine, like a little bitty like glass amber bottle is most of the time what they come in.
And how do they work? Do I have to have a certain amount of water to one tablet, or does it go to a gallon, or?
I think it's 2 tablets to a quart, and it depends on the brand, but typically it's 1 to 2 tablets per quart of water. You put the tablets in, you shake it up, and I think you have to let it set either 15 or 30 minutes.
And my container is a quart.
Yeah.
I think it's 32 ounces. Isn't that a quart?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would take 2 tablets for that container.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and it depends on it'll have instructions. Each company is a little bit different, and most of the time you have to let it set 15 or 30 minutes for it to do its thing. So you've got that. Water filters like your Life Straw you've got, or the Sawyer mini filters. There's a bunch of different ones. I've got Sawyers and Life Straws. So, each one has its advantages and disadvantages. Uh, Shelter stuff, a poncho is an amazing tool because you can pick up military surplus ponchos, and those ponchos are big enough that it will go over your backpack, so your backpack stays dry too.
Well, those and they're big enough that you can make a shelter out of them.
Yes.
So I've got which it's not in here. It's laying in there on my table. A little, it's kind of just a rolled up bundle of paracord, and you have a paracord and one of those ponchos, and you can make a pretty decent shelter in the woods if you need to, or
Yeah,
wherever.
exactly. A hammock, something that I like to have, is one of the light, compact hammocks because typically you can find two trees or two posts to string a hammock up to and to get your butt off the ground to sleep. Cover yourself up, get in the hammock, cover yourself up with a poncho, and you're pretty much good to go that way. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can sleep pretty comfortable that way. Uh, Clothes, depending on the season. I typically am not a shorts guy, but I typically wear pants all the time, long pants. But now, if you're going to change out, like the seasons are it's getting a little bit cooler here at night and during the day. So it'd be good to have like a mid-weight jacket with you and a long sleeve t-shirt. So, because I know in the morning times now, a lot of times I'll throw on a long sleeve t-shirt, and by about 9:30, I'm taking the long sleeve t-shirt off and staying in just a t-shirt. But down, at night, if you're going to have to sleep somewhere, it'd be good to have like a mid-weight fleece jacket or something like that for you. But change out your clothing in your bag, uh, all for the seasons. Security stuff is kind of obvious. At the bare minimum, have a handgun with you and a couple extra magazines, loaded magazines, and maybe an extra box of ammo with you. It's going to weigh a little bit, but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Right.
Uh, Also, I mean, your fixed blade knife, you've got a Moore knife. The Moore knives, for what they cost, I think they're a freaking phenomenal investment for as little money as they are and as good a knife as they are. But a good fixed blade knife to have. Uh, in my truck, but I carry a lot of crap in my truck. Shelly can attest to it. I mean, the back seat has always got tools and everything else in there, extra clothes and stuff like that. But I'll tell you honestly, I keep a pair of Carhartt overalls in my toolbox year round because I never know what I'm going to get into. There's been days where I have to crawl up underneath somebody's house, and I'm like, I don't want to be dirty the rest of the day, so I'll throw my overalls on and then crawl underneath the house, do my stuff, and then when I get done, I can just pull my overalls off, and my pants and my shirt are still clean to where I'm not, covered in crawl space dust the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But that's just something to have. My bag, I've got a lot more junk in my bag than really what I need, but I would rather have it there. And if I don't need it, I'm just going to leave it in the truck and start walking to the house. But just like a first aid kit, I've got uh, I've got a first aid kit that sits on the transmission hump of the truck. It's more of like it's a stop the bleed kit. It's got a tourniquet in there, wound packing gauze, stuff like that. That's readily, easily accessible right there on the transmission hump of the truck in the front seat. And then I've got a bigger bag in the back seat that if I need more stuff out of there, I can get. Front line I can get it off the transmission hump. Second line I can grab the bag out of the back seat and use it for medical stuff. And then it's got my boo-boo stuff in there, Band-Aids that I use almost every other day and stuff like that. And I tell you, it's not just for getting home too. One day I was actually at my mother-in-law's house working. I was cutting a bunch of stone and grinding and cutting a bunch of brick. And I got it done. I got it done by like noon. And I'm like, the day's only half over, but I was covered in brick and stone dust. And I was like, I could run home real quick, take a shower and change clothes and then come back. But I was like, that's going to be an hour to an hour and a half round trip. I was like, it's not really worth it. But I had an extra pair of clothes in my bag. So I told her, I was like, hey, I want to take a shower and change clothes, and then I can just finish up doing stuff inside. So that saved me, an hour of drive time.
Yep.
So it's everyday stuff. And then when I got home, I washed those clothes, made sure those clothes were clean, and then the next day the next morning I just put those clothes back in my bag. So little stuff like that can save you a lot of time. And I mean, and then having kids too. I mean, even if you got 9-year-old kids, they still spill crap on themselves. So having an extra pair of clothes in that bag for your kids can save you. You know, they're drinking their drink at the restaurant and pour it down the front of them. You got an extra pair of clothes in the truck that,
Yep.
you know, instead of running to Target and buying them a new pair of jeans and underwear and t-shirt, it's like, hey, I've got an extra pair right in the truck.
You know, that's something that I always did when I had babies and toddlers. I always had extra clothes in their bag. As they got older, I didn't do that. I mean, and there were times that probably would have been a good idea had I done that. But, you know, I think we don't have that mindset when they get out of being babies and toddlers and stuff. We just kind of forget about that.
Yeah. And a lot of this stuff, I carry a lot of stuff on me every day. You know, my everyday carry stuff. I've always got a firearm on me. I've always got a pocket knife. It's not, you know, some big survival knife. It's a stinking Milwaukee razor knife that I use for everyday stuff. And then I always carry a lighter with me. So I've got a way of making fire. And of course, there's other lighters in my truck and stuff like that. This has kind of been geared more towards a minimalist that doesn't keep. I've seen some of these people. You get in their truck and it looks like a brand new vehicle, like rolled off the showroom. And I'm kind of looking around. I'm like, where's all your crap that you keep in your truck? And they don't keep anything in their vehicle. I'm like, you don't even have like a Leatherman in the map pocket. I'm like, they make these pockets for a reason where you throw shit in there. So
you're kind of the other extreme though. Like like we could do a hoarder version of the pickup hoarder. That's what Jason is.
but it's all useful stuff. I mean, yes, in the map pocket of my
I know, but
truck,
you don't really even have places for people to sit, dude. You've got a lot of stuff in your truck.
I know. Well, I've got now some of it. If I'm running up and down the road, I'll have to stop and get something to eat, and I throw the bag over in the passenger seat, and then when I get home, I clean it out every day. So, yes, there's a little bit of hoardishness going, but most of that stuff, I mean, like the map pocket of my truck on the driver's side, there's like a Leatherman, there's a pair of channel locks, and there's like 2 or 3 screwdrivers and stuff like that. It's stuff that if I don't want to get in a toolbox, I can open the door up and grab a pair of channel locks. So it's all useful stuff.
Well, I'll admit, if the stuff hits the fan, I would rather be in your truck than my truck. But you still have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And then there's like a brand new random light switch. I don't know why there's a light switch in the map pocket. So, and there, on the other side, there is something I was looking the other day. There's tops to the IBC totes. There's like 2 of the IBC tote tops, and I'm like, when did I put those in there? I was like, I need to take those out and put them in the shop. So, and then there are also some Pokemon cards in the back seat. So, I guess I could trade Pokemon cards for food in a grid down situation.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody would do that.
That'll be the new currency, Pokemon cards.
But I wanted to make this podcast because I know that there's people out there that are like me that don't have a 50-pound bag in their pickup and, you know, ready to walk home from anywhere. So if you're just starting, if this is something that you're just now getting into, well, if I was out, how would I get home kind of thing? That's where I'm at. And I know that I'll be adding things. I was making a list as Jason was saying stuff. I know that I'll be adding things to it. You're going to have to do what works for you. If you're walking, so something happens and you have to walk home, make sure that you have shoes. Make sure that you have shoes that you can walk home in, whether that's, hiking boots, tennis shoes, something that's heavy, not heavy. I would start to say something that's heavy duty. And also something that you've worn that you've broke in already. You don't want a brand new pair of boots to walk home. Yeah. You want something that you're used to wearing. like with this girls trip, obviously I've got, outfits, jewelry, that kind of stuff that I'm taking because we're going to go do stuff. Um, but now in my mind, I'm thinking I need to throw a pair of tennis shoes in my bag. And I may not wear my tennis shoes while I'm down there, but I would rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So that may be something. I actually may clean out my bag and put them in the bottom of my bag and then pile everything else in on top of it. That may be how I do that.
Yeah, and I've seen it before. A lot of people are like, they'll take off and they're going to be 3 hours from the house, and the only thing they've got is a pair of flip flops. And it's like, how in the world are you going to try to trump back home in a pair of flip flops? So
Yeah.
typically, right now I've got on flip flops, but I'm on property and 150 feet from the house, and honestly, I've got a pair of lace up shoes down here in the shop. So
I don't think I've ever seen you wear flip flops.
oh
That's
yeah,
kind of shocking me right now. I don't think I've ever seen you. Randy doesn't even own a pair of flip flops. He has a pair of sandals that we use when we go camping that, so that he'll wear them down to the beach or something and keep them on in the water. But he doesn't own a pair of flip flops. He won't. He's like, nah, I don't need that.
I've got a pair of flip flops. I've had them for I think almost 15 years now, something like that. They're a
You
pair.
don't wear them enough that they've lasted that long.
Oh no, these are high quality flip flops. These are Reef brand, like
Okay.
Coral Reef. They've got, and I don't know why, and I didn't know it when I bought it, but they've got a bottle opener on the bottom. Swear to God, they've got a bottle opener on both of them where you can open a beer bottle. So I'm like, but it's
That's a college days thing.
but it's kind of nasty to think about. No matter where these shoes have been, and then you're going to stick it on the end of your beer bottle and open it up. So
If you're using your shoe to open a beer bottle, I think you're kind of past that.
probably so.
Yeah.
But yes, well, the funny thing is, I don't own a pair of tennis shoes.
Really?
Yeah, like a pair of Nikes or Adidas or anything. I've not owned a pair of tennis shoes in probably 20 years or better. So, yeah, I have no Air Jordans or even the gray and white, old man New Balance shoes. I don't even have a pair of those. So,
Well,
yeah, but yeah, guys,
right.
we just kind of scratched the surface on a lot of this as far as a bag to get you home. Stick your comments. Tell us what we missed, and I know we missed some stuff because we're kind of doing a light get home bag. But leave some comments. Tell us what we missed. We can continue the conversation online and talk about it.
And if you've got any items to stick in that, that I need to get to stick in my bag, that I'm really big on dual purpose things. So if you have items that you can use them for multiple things, let me know in the comments below.
Yeah. So, Shelly, what's the tip of the day?
So the tip of the day kind of goes along with this. It's Jason's philosophy on the world. Keep more in your vehicle than you need. So just like Jason was talking about having that pair of coveralls, which, there are things in Jason's vehicle that are conducive to his line of work. It's things that are very practical for him to keep with him in his line of work, like power tools, like a generator, like coveralls, so he can crawl underneath people's houses and all that kind of thing, because that's what he does. That's his job. But it's not a bad idea, in your trunk to keep a case of water or a couple blankets or, a bag full of a change of clothes for everybody in your household who's traveling in that car. Keep those high energy kind of bars, protein bars or whatever. Keep some of those in there, especially in the wintertime. A lot of times if it snows real bad, if you have some problems getting home, I mean, think about how many times you've seen snowstorms come through and people get stranded on the side of the road and they end up, passing away and everything because they're stuck on the side of the road and it's freezing. Now, I'm not saying that, just if you have some blankets in there that's going to keep you from freezing, but it would go a long way, especially if you huddle together and cover up with a few blankets, it might help. But keep some stuff in your vehicle, especially with the weather. You know, it's starting to it's fall or getting ready to be fall, and it's going to start getting cold. Even keeping like salt, a bag of salt. I'm talking like road salt. If you got stuck, you know, you could throw that down, or sand or something like that to help you get out of some snow, or a camp shovel, you know, those kind of things. I know you can't prepare for everything, but there are some things you could throw in your trunk that could help you out of a jam, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I there and like Shelly was saying, there's a ton of stuff that's conducive to the work I do, but it's also got practical applications. And my bag that I keep in there, the way I've seen it, I can throw stuff out of that bag if I don't need it and lighten the bag up. So, I mean, if it's summertime, I don't need a stinking Columbia fleece jacket. So I'm really not going to take that thing with me. And
Right.
there's certain things I know that I don't need that I can just chuck out of that bag and lighten it up. But it'd be great if I had it sometimes. So, Shelly, show us what else we got new with the festival. I do know one thing new that we've got to hammer out all the details, but it's going to be pretty cool, and I think people are going to like it. Is that William is going to do a hands-on composting demonstration for us, William Bond. So I talked to him yesterday. He's game for it. William's actually going to build a pile at the festival and show you, actually step by step how to build your pile. And then we're probably going to have two other piles that have already started composting, probably a 3-week pile and a 1-week pile, to show you kind of the steps of how it goes. And it will probably wind up flipping those piles too. So I'm super excited. We got to hammer out the logistics on it, but you're going to see firsthand in person actually how William builds his compost piles and makes the amazing compost that he does.
That'll be really cool. So, one of our newly added speakers that we have is Callie Blackwell. She's going to be coming and talking about uh, just a healthier way of living. You know, not growing your own food and all that kind of stuff, but not being dependent on pharmaceutical stuff and all of that kind of thing. We're really excited to have Callie on board. She wrote a book called 1 in 7 billion. If you haven't read that book, you need to check it out. It's the whole story of her son and being diagnosed with cancer and almost dying, and how they saved his life. It's just an amazing story. Um, who else have we got? We've got Jeff Smith that's going to be coming and talking about getting your family on board. What do you do about those people who are, you care about them, you want them to come to your place if something happens, but they're not really on board with it? What do you do about them? Um,
Angry
we've got
Prepper will be there.
Angry Prepper will be there. He's going to be talking about urban, getting in out of an urban environment. You need to check him out on YouTube. His channel is really, really good. He cracks me up. He's so funny. Especially when he goes and does those walkabouts. Like, there's no way. The places that he goes and walks through
Yeah.
New York in the middle of the night, there's no way. I mean, maybe I would do it if I were with him, just because he's a big guy and he's kind of scary looking, but there's just no way I would do that. It
Yeah.
freaks me out. Who else? We've got Bill Stoker from Stoker-Matic.
Yeah.
He's going to be talking about homestead security. We've got Dawn Gorham coming up from Tennessee. She's going to be talking about the family milk cow. And I'm really excited because I am wanting to learn more about raw milk, and she's going to come and teach about that. That's really, I have found, because I can't drink regular milk anymore, it makes me sick if I drink a large quantity of it. But I found that raw milk doesn't make me sick, and I kind of want to know why.
Oh yeah.
But who else have we got coming?
Byron Russell will be there. Byron's a retired Green Beret. He's going to be talking about homestead drone defense and ways to protect yourself from drones.
Yeah.
Local Prepper will be there. He's going to do Preparedness 101 for everybody. Leslie Gossett will be there too, talking about herbal stuff. I think well, Brian and Susan will be there talking about ham radio and disaster communications and stuff like that.
We got
But
Flomaton Famous coming and teaching tree grafting.
yes.
Yep.
And the website, everybody, is KentuckySustainableLiving.com. We've got tickets on sale for $25 a person right now. They are going to go up pretty soon. Use the code.
Use email code 25.
Yeah. And that'll get you $10 off your ticket, which makes you $25.
I didn't say that right. Email 25 is the
Yeah.
code. Sorry.
So, but yeah, guys, get your tickets. Also, check out the workshops that we got that are going to be going on Friday. We've got 4 different workshops that'll be going on Friday. But check all that stuff out. Also, Saturday night, we're going to have a dinner for Caleb House. That the charity dinner is going to benefit Caleb House, which is TJ Bear Independent. It's his organization that they're building to rehabilitate children that have been rescued from sex trafficking rings. So that dinner will be Saturday night, and you can get tickets online for that also. But that's about done for the day. Shelly, you got anything else?
No, I'm
All
good.
Right. All right. We will see y'all next week back here at the same place, and I appreciate it a bunch.
Talk to y'all later. God bless.